All right, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Neil from the Tower Climbing Grease Monkeys, and this is the 5th episode of the TCGM show. Today we're talking to a couple of good friends of mine, Andrew Swapp and Wes Wooten. Now, these guys are veterans in the industry and veterans who have served in our military, and we're going to discuss who is, or I'm sorry, we're going to discuss who are these new guys coming into our industry. You know, how are we training them? And should we be hiring veterans? And of course, you know, the answer is yes. But what I want to do is first introduce to you a friend that I've known from Southern Utah here. His name is Andrew Swapp. Andy, welcome to the TCGM show.
Hi, Neil. Thanks a lot. And hello, everybody that's out there watching.
Andy, thanks for joining us, man. It's an honor to host you on the show. We saw each other on my Texas tour. I went by Mesalands Community College. If you guys haven't seen that video, you should really check it out. Andy and I think, made history when we recorded a live video up tower, and we gave away a bunch of cool wind turbines like the ones behind me. Andy, I'm still repping your turbine back there.
All right. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, Andy, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into this, and what you're doing now?
Well, Neil, just out of high school, I was an adventure seeker, and the U.S. military was the vehicle that I chose for those thrill-seeking moments of rappelling out of a helicopter, jumping out of an airplane, shoot rifles, throw hand grenades, maybe even swing on a vine through a jungle. So, yeah, my first year in the military, I accomplished all my life goals. Those thrill-seeking things, even scuba dive a little bit. So, in my travels throughout the military, I've seen a lot of poverty. I've seen a lot of sites that just really make you scratch your head and say, wow, a little bit of education could really help here. And, if that education involves some renewable energy, I think it would help even much more. So when I was actually medically retired in 1996, embarrassing moment of my life because I wasn't missing a limb. But anyway, I got a little tore up in the stomach region and I wasn't able to continue. So I went back to school to become a shop teacher, and I became a shop teacher in Milford, Utah.
You sure did, man. And that's where I met you, in Milford. And I'm going to cut to the chase here. Andy and his kids are one of the reasons why I even came here to Southern Utah, which is an amazing feat in itself. They started monitoring the wind resource in Milford, and they shared the data, and then a company by the name of First Wind decided, hey, this might actually be a good place to put a wind farm. And it was. They built it, and then if they build it, Neil will come. And I came, man, and we built that site, and it was awesome. And I worked there for 8 years.
And we built a good friendship, Neil.
That's right. That's right. So you were a shop teacher. You taught kids about wind energy. You actually taught kids that actually work at the wind farm today and have worked there.
Yes.
But then you moved on. You went to, where did you go?
Well, in 2007, I thought, are there training schools for wind technicians? We're going to be building a lot of these. Are there training schools? So I looked online and I saw an artist concept of this school with a 1.5 megawatt turbine behind the school. And I thought, yeah, like that's really going to happen. Kind of laughed about it. And then a year later, 2008, I went back to that same site and they had accomplished this. I LEED certified building, wind turbine behind it. And I've kind of had my eye on this school ever since.
Yeah.
And, I didn't feel qualified to apply there yet, but through my summer jobs have been in wind, either in prospecting and construction or in maintenance or some form.
Right. You
of
actually got out there and put some sweat equity into, what you wanted to do.
if I'm going to teach something, Neil, I want to have done it myself. I
I
want
hear
to
you.
know about it before I start teaching it. So hopefully I have that down now.
And the school you're talking about, this place that you were talking about, that's actually Mesalands Community College. And that's where you're at now.
That's where I'm at now. I'm in that building I thought could not happen, and I'm living a dream. Exactly. So, Tucumcari, New Mexico, fantastic place. Found some good friends here. Kind of call it Radiator Springs, but
It looks a little bit like it. When Steve and I went through, it looks a little bit like Springs for sure.
yes, yeah, it does. But we found some of our best friends here. We love the people in Milford, but we've just picked up and kept driving on here, and it's been a wonderful experience.
That's awesome, man. Well, Andy is running this program in Tucumcari, New Mexico at Mesalands Community College. He partners with some great people in the industry. I think even you guys even have GE Field Corps guys out there training at your facility, and you're training the next generation. So that's why Andy's here today, because we're talking about the next. Also talking to now our next guest, Andy. We're going to come back to you here in a minute, but I'm gonna bring in Wes Wooten here, and then we'll have like a little round table once we introduce him. Okay.
Fantastic. Thanks, Neil.
All right. All right. So here comes Wes here. Wes, welcome to the show. This is Wes Wooten. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing all right, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well. Now, Wes and I actually met through a little portion in time of my life when I tried to be a recruiter. You remember that, Wes?
I do, yeah.
I don't know how well of a recruiter I was, but I tried to line you out with a couple of jobs, and I think you were a pretty attractive candidate for quite a few people. And one of those reasons is because you were a veteran. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your career in Win, Wes, and just tell us what you're up to now.
Well, I started out at a online school, Pinnacle Career Institute. I think is what it is, in wind energy. And I was doing that while working for the Department of Defense IT job. And no joke, the contract ended for the Department of Defense job like a week after I got my diploma or certification or whatever. So it was like very serendipitous, and started applying for jobs in the wind industry, and got one with a little mom and pop place. Sent me up to Schenectady, and I got my 1.5 GE O&M cert. That was my.
Yeah, that's a great program over there. GE does a good job over there. I got to give them a shout out for that. Schenectady program. Good job.
Yeah, Jeff Almy, head instructor. I still am in contact with that guy. He's a great guy. After that, I went and did some work in Oklahoma, and hired on with another company that was Orion. Was their parent company for Gemini Energy Services, and they had a real strong veteran base, and that was real prevalent on their website. And I was like, oh yeah, awesome! I like this. I want to work for these people. And spent a year and a half up in North Dakota at Bison, and then bounced around to a couple of sites after Bison. And then I tried to venture out on my own with my own business, and it was pretty well. And then, but a couple of contracts fell through, and starting out, if you don't have the money coming in all the time, you can't do it. You can't survive.
So you tried to create a service business.
Yeah, that was how VETechs was going to start out. I was going to be a service company for veterans, and actually treat techs like they ought to be treated, right? Coaches, good equipment, good training, all that kind of stuff. kind of seems like a pipe dream when you look at it.
Oh, it's not, man. I think it just takes a lot of money.
Yeah. I think the rough estimates was like 750,000 for the first year.
Yeah, we had the conversation on our last show about that same thing, what it takes for small businesses to survive in wind. And that's kind of what branches us off into you and what you're doing now. You've created a non-for-profit, which is called VETechs, that is focused on getting veterans in our military jobs here in the wind industry. And I think we're doing a good job at that already, but I think you're going to help further that for sure. I think Andy let me know that there was 72%. Yeah, we hire 72% more veterans in this industry than any other, which is like is quite amazing. But why don't you tell me, what your vision is, for VETechs and what you think. Yeah, where do you think it's going to go?
I mean, honestly, I don't think there's a cap as to where it can go. I know the focus right now is renewable energy because we need renewable energy, right? And wind turbines is like one of the fastest growing jobs in America, right?
Yeah, and then not only that, but there's projects that are constantly going up, which is amazing for us.
But so, I mean, honestly, I feel like VETechs can go anywhere. I mean, you can be a technician in a wide variety of different occupations, be it, law enforcement, well, not really law enforcement, but, auto tech for mechanic people, your wind techs, your solar techs, paint tech. I mean, it could go anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
But my thing was I wanted to focus on the renewable energy to do something good.
Well, and what I like about it too is a lot of people tell you to follow your dreams, but I like to tell people, yeah, you can follow your dreams, but you also have to follow your efforts. If you're a wind tech for 5 years and then you decide that you're going to just go be an underwater welder and you have no skills, man, like, good luck, right? So good on you for, following your dreams and your efforts. And I think you'll be rewarded for it, man. And that's why you're on this panel here today. And I feel like you got something great to offer. And I'd like to, at this time, bring in Andy again, and then we can have a roundtable discussion about, these topics that we brought up. So the first question I had was, who are all these new guys coming into our industry, man? I love them. And I love the fact that we're gaining momentum and we're getting more people. But who are these guys? Andy, you're training the next generation there. What types of people are you seeing coming through?
Well, first of all, I want to thank Sergeant Wooten for his service. And but I'm so glad you asked that question because I see those new guys go through here, and it's exciting. You want to get motivated, come talk to a class here like you have, Neil.
Yeah.
But, there's the new guy, 62 years old from New Jersey, that decides to change careers and is up cranking a ranch in Pueblo, Colorado right now. And the local people from here, the guy that's married with 2 kids that's been stocking shelves at the grocery store since high school, he's now a wind technician over in Kansas. I mean, they're coming from all over. But our Navy veterans that could teach my electrical theory class, the Army veterans that have no problem hooking up and hiking up that ladder as many times as you want them to, and carrying a load, being a team member. They're high school students that have come out and said, hey, this looks like something I really want to do. I can sink my teeth into this because it's something important to do, and it's an adventure. So that's what I see. I see all these new students that are just enthused, chomping at the bit, and excited to get out there.
Yeah, the spice of life and the salt of the earth, I think, is the type of people we're going after. And I think one of the things that I ask myself is, how do we attract these guys? What is it that we're building for them to be a part of. And that's one of the things that I'm really focused on, right? I got to be focused on building community. You know, what is it to be a wind turbine technician? You know, what is it? Like, what's that?
I think it's the money, man.
You think that's a very good possibility. The money that these guys are getting flashed in front of them, you know, the possibility of making some good pay.
Another
that's definitely a thing.
Another, sorry to cut you off. Another aspect of it, I know being military, whenever you get your small crews, right, you're going out, you're working in a tower. It's like being in a squad or a team, right, in the military. Yeah. It's that tight-knit family. Everybody at the O&M, right, that's your family. It's the same as a unit or a platoon or whatever. That's what I think. Absolutely. The veterans, you know, they make such a great tech because they are already used to that social interaction, that working with pairs or teams, and I think that is a draw in and of itself to have that same, I guess, brotherhood. You know what I mean? Not to label it, but it is what it is.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. I think that this falls in line with military quite well. And I've worked with military veterans and we're great workers. So I know we're attracting the military veterans. Are we attracting this younger generation, this like tweet, text, Insta, you know, are we attracting them? Do they really want to work hard? Maybe. I think there's still some good guys out there, right? And gals, because that's growing too. You know, the female impact here, and you know, we need that too, because some of us are a little rough around the edges. I could use that myself. I know from my personal experience, you know, running a wind farm, having to get a whole new crew to help, you know, build a self-operation site. We pulled from local guys, and we kind of just had to know, do they have any mechanical type of inclination? Do they like to work on cars? Do they like dirt bikes? Do they like things that they get their hands on, you know? Do they like, you know, even the thought of electricity, even if it baffles them at first, would they like to figure it out? Do they have the instinct to want to kind of solve the problems? And I found like some of the greatest people weren't necessarily trained to be anything remotely, you know, close to being a technician, but were like plumbers. You know, some were electricians. Some were guys that just worked on farms. You know, some were guys that, you know, you name it, man. Some worked at local jails, but they were just like really eager to do the job. So those are some of the guys that I've seen come through, but yeah, there's no limit to any of them, right?
I know one of the greatest teammates I've had is a guy named Matt Braun. He got out of wind to be with his family. He was an infantry guy, did a bunch of tours, you know, didn't really have the background at all for being a tech, but he was one of the greatest techs I ever worked with. And he would do it, you know. We'd show him what we were doing, get it locked in, bang it out.
That's awesome, man. So how do we attract the right type of people? I mean, do you guys have any ideas for that?
Well, I think just being renewable attracts people because they want to be a part of that. They want to be a part of that energy that's clean and for the future. But you know, I think if we can relay our story and relay how important it is, you know, Neil, you're very important doing what you do.
Well, thanks.
A wind technician, how important are they? They're keeping electricity flowing, you know, and I don't mean to sound dramatic, but they're keeping electricity flowing to that hospital that's got a baby in an incubator, you know, that needs electricity all the time. So, you know, it's just you know, you can relate to them how important this job is. And I think everyone wants to know that their job is important. So that's one way to attract them is to let them know that, yes, this is important.
I think maintaining, like keeping your people well taken care of, right? Personable, right? You want to be, you don't necessarily have to be friends, but you know what I mean? You should take care of the people underneath you at all times, right? Make sure they got nice stuff. They don't, I mean,
They don't want,
well, right, yeah. I
at
mean,
least not a ton.
because if you feel like you're not worth nothing, then you really don't want to work to the best of your ability, right? A
Right.
good boss can make anybody a good worker. A terrible boss can make a good worker terrible worker.
As an infantry sergeant, when it came time to clean a latrine, if I didn't stick my hand in there first,
Right.
could I really expect the privates to do that? And then if I wasn't training them to take my job, I wasn't
Right.
doing my job.
Right.
So yes, they've got to feel like someone cares about them, and that there's a true leader there.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the same way with a site manager, right? You're a guy that's just asking people to go do stuff, but you don't ever go climb a tower, and I don't know, it puts like a weird taste in your mouth. So,
Well, yeah, man. I mean, you can't do that. You just can't do it. And the unfortunate part is sometimes the system itself or the company doesn't allow you to do that because they bog you down with so much paperwork and nonsense. And you're asking and you're just like, dude, I need some administrative help here so I can go lead my men. Will you help me out? And they're like, nope, I'm a penny pinching mother sucker. And you're like, damn, yeah, you are, and you're like, you're kind of cutting me off at the knees here to help. I don't know. I may or may not have that experience. So
yeah, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody's gone through it, right? I'm not trying to single anybody out.
Yeah,
that was a little harsh, Neil.
Yeah, that was a little hard. So I know I'm going to try to do my part. I'm going to make videos directed at people that are trying to get into this industry. I'm going to try to educate them. I'm going to put them up on all the channels that I can, and use guys that are in this to try to help tell that story. We'll use YouTube. We'll use all of the outlets that guys would use when they start Googling wind turbine technicians. And if we can help out in that, that's what we'll do. So hopefully we can help, get some good quality people. The next question is, how are we training these guys? What are the new guys' options? And what is it? Is it like this system that we've got to create that everybody's got to follow? Let's talk about some of the options that are out there and talk about, some of the good and some of the areas where we can improve.
Well, when we talk about improvement, every graduate that I send out of here, I try to stay in touch with them on Facebook or some other means so that, a month or two down the road, or even a year or two down the road, I can say, what did we not give you at the school that you wish you had? What tools could we have given you in that knowledge toolbox that you're missing? And inevitably, most of the time, it's more schematics. Well, why were you sleeping during that part? Well, if you've never dealt with schematics before and you're trying to learn it for the first time, wow, it's kind of a nightmare sometimes. But when you get out there and you see the need, then you go, oh man, I wish I'd have paid attention to that. Or, maybe we do need to add a lot more in there. So it's it's an ongoing process, that process of improvement.
Nice.
I think hands-on training would be the biggest thing. Like, I know with Pinnacle, it was a whole bunch of theory, and then we had like a boot camp. It was 2 weeks long, and that's where we got to actually go get the INSTA certification, get on the ladders, go do our climb, and actually turn wrenches, and work on hydraulic systems and stuff. The boot camp was amazing. And I know like High Plains is another training center in Oklahoma. They do a ton of good stuff. They're like what you're saying with having a nacelle in the back, right? They have a 2.3 Siemens nacelle, and then they do, hands-on. They got ladder rescue, they got fine space rescue. And I think having all those um, at your hands, right, to actually work on and kind of see what's going on is more beneficial because you actually get to see what you're going to do and where you're going to work. It's not all in your brain.
Yeah.
You know what? Another thing that we found valuable is, we climb our 1.5 4 times a semester. And sure, we teach theory in the class, we have hands-on labs, and then we climb the turbine. And if anything goes wrong with our turbine, the students are up there fixing it with us. But in the summers, internships are mega important. Those students come back off those internships with knowledge that increases our knowledge as instructors, and they're hungry, they know what they need, and they're so much more focused for that second year of school. So internships, if we could grow the possibility of internships between their freshman and sophomore year, that would be tremendous.
I like that idea. An internship program. We didn't really utilize internships very well, and I don't think that a lot of companies do. I'm not sure what the holdup is there. Maybe it's liability. I'm not sure. But you guys offered up some really, really good insight. I completely agree with Wes. It needs to be hands-on. Andy's shaking his head. Obviously he agrees as well. It needs to be hands-on. But then these guys also need to understand what it is they're dealing with. If they still think that the electricity is the boogie monster, we're not doing our job right. Because that is some things, or horror stories of guys climbing up and going, which one's the generator and which one's the gearbox? It's like, all right, dude, maybe you should have not skipped that class or whatever. I'm talking from experience of a guy who did not go to school at all for wind energy or even anything technical. But I'm a little bit different in the fact that you put something in front of me and I want to learn it, there's no stopping me. And I will pull in every resource possible to get the job done, to learn from the best, to do the best I can, and to understand it in my own way. The reason I think sometimes I'm a decent teacher is because I have to teach myself. And when I have to teach myself, then I can teach it to others, and then I really understand it fully. One of the things that I like to do when I was training these group of technicians that needed to take over this self-operation site was we had like a 3-week thing where we would go into the classroom and then we would learn and then we'd go out and see it. We would learn and then we'd go out and see it. And I would not, and maybe this was to some people's dismay, but like I would not go to the next section unless people could really answer the questions, face to face, not necessarily a test or whatever it was. I think that stuff helped a lot. Now there's a lot of different options as far as schooling, right? Wes, you said you did some online stuff.
Yep.
Andy, how long is your course? That's obviously a course where you have to go and you have to live in Tucumcari for a little while, right?
It is. And we have 3 different offerings. We have an occupational, which is 1 semester, which I recommend to people coming from another profession that is similar, like an electrician, a mechanic, something like that. We have a 1 year that extends that knowledge of schematics and hydraulics. And, of course, we get to do more on our own turbine here. And then a 2-year degree, you get your general eds, English, math, all of that good stuff. And you get the little sheepskin to hang on the wall that says, I put up with this stuff for 2 years. I can put up with the bureaucracy and whatnot. So, I'm not going to quit.
Yeah, I'm not going to quit. That's what that piece of paper says. I'm not going to quit. Even when I want to walk out of this school and go just find a job, I'm not going to, because I want to show people, hey, I did this. I experienced the same thing in college. I went to the University of California, Riverside, and by year 3, I was done. I was like, this is dumb. I went to business school. I studied business administration, and basically I learned how corrupt our system is, how to cook the books and, you know, how to be the next Enron, right? And it was the worst. I was like, how am I going to exist in this society? What am I going to do? And my goal was I was going to join the Air Force and I was going to fly planes. Later on, at about year 4, I decided that wasn't what I was going to do, but I was going to start working in renewable energy and I was going to focus my efforts in that way. But yeah, man, I totally wanted to give up at year 3. So if you're in wind school right now and you want to give up, don't do it. Keep going. You'll be all right. Unless you come work for the tower climbing grease monkeys, I might hook you up. We did have a guy that almost left his school at Texas Tech. Shout out to Vegas. I went and visited his school and he's like, I'll quit this school right now and go with you. Shout out to him, because I actually
it's all about the money, right? What are you going to pay?
He was like, I'm not worried about it right now. He came out, actually, he spent like 3 or 4 days with me. You know, good kid. And then he ended up getting a job. I think he ended up going back to the school and graduating. But sometimes you got to be that eager. So I'm reading this latest article here in Wind Systems magazine. This is a new magazine. I haven't started reading it, you know, religiously yet. But there's an article here written by John Hensley, who is the senior director and research analyst at the American Wind Energy Association. So shout out to AWEA there. And it says that forecasts and trends show American wind power is on track to supply 10% of the country's electricity by 2020. Holy, that's pretty cool. That's right around the corner, right? I know it might not sound like a lot, 10%, but that takes a lot of people and a lot of effort. And that's what brings me into this next thing. Obviously, I think that you guys agree with this, but should we be hiring veterans?
I'll vote yes on that, Neil.
I think we know my stance.
Yes, absolutely. We should be hiring veterans. And how do we vet these veterans? How do we get them in?
See, that's the hard part, man. Anybody can show you a DD-214 that says, hey, you know, I was in the military, but, you know, and you can look at it and see, you know, honorable discharge, other than honorable, or dishonorable. But that, I mean, that's just a piece of paper that doesn't really sum anything up. So,
right.
The couple of candidates that I've been working on here lately, one kid was medically discharged for having some hip issue. And I was like, okay, well, this is a, you know, strenuous job, right? And this, I mean, I don't have any injuries, and this is tough on my body. And I was like, so I talked to him a lot, and then I get like information from first line leaders, you know, their E5s, their E7s, you know, even the officers. And I'm not afraid to call and ask and be like, hey, was this guy a real big POS? Or is he a go-getter, you know? And yeah. I feel like that is what we need. And I mean, that's what I'm going to do with my company, is that way I'm not just throwing out people who end up being trash employees. I want to create like a stigma of, oh, you came to them? Say no more, right?
You're good to go, yeah. The stamp of approval. The VETechs, you know, yeah. That's it.
Right on the forehead.
you know, 9 times out of 10, though, desire and attitude really can determine that. If a guy's got plenty of drive, plenty of desire, and a fantastic attitude, is there anything they can't learn?
That's right. That's kind of like the selling point of it, you know. As a soldier or sailor or whatever, service member, we're broke down, right? We're broke down in the beginning to basically reset our minds, reboot our minds, and then we're built up to be what the military wants us to be. And they make us like programmable, right? And then they send us through our trainings, and we go through other trainings, and just they're always giving you something to learn. And I feel like service members make great anything. They don't even have to be a wind tech. I mean, if you got a guy or a girl that wants to learn something and wants to do something, and they have that prior, they got that drive, I mean, like you said, there's no stopping you.
Yeah. I would agree, man. Just drawing from personal experience. One of my good buddies, shout out to Josh Kleinke, served in the Marines and worked with him for 4 years in Milford. Climbed turbines up until the last day with him, and he moved on to Vestas, and I moved on to First Wind, and we just had a great camaraderie, man. And just hearing his stories up tower of the things that he had to do, and things that he didn't. You don't tell everybody that kind of stuff, right? And I just thought, man, as we worked together, I thought, man, this guy, I can count on him. Like if I fall ill or I hurt myself or I take a high torque to the face or something, like this dude can buck up and help me. And I like that part about it. And there's something to tap into there. And I think that's the reason why we're talking about this. And we're all in agreement that veterans are great people to hire. The military does something right when they train people. And a lot of people don't agree with the way that they train people. But Wes, you mentioned it. They break you down to build you up. And I think that it's a tried and true method. I've got some good friends in the industry that are now leaders of a lot of men and work for great companies, and they still rely on the military playbook, so to speak.
Right.
And it's working for them.
It's hard to do nowadays, though, because everybody's got emotions and stuff like that. Like you can't break people down because they'll get upset or triggered or and they need a break or a safe space or something. And
a hurt feelings report.
Yeah, exactly. Hurt feelings report. It's just
there's a balance though, right? There's a balance. There has to be.
Right. The best description of leadership I ever heard in the military was accomplish the mission without ruining the dignity of your soldiers. And I thought, wow, that's pretty powerful.
That is powerful. You know what? I think this is a good opportunity now. You guys can see it. I've got a scrolling bar here that says we're open for calls. If you want to talk to us, give us a call. Give your 2 cents on the new guys coming into the industry and what we should be doing to train them, or your 2 cents on veterans. If you're a veteran, give us a call and share this around. We're going to open this up for calls, and the first person that calls in will answer, and you guys get to chat with all three of us. One of the things that I want to talk to you guys about is the fact that what do you do with a guy that we bring in, whether he's a new guy or whatever, like with these companies, and I've dealt with this in the past, okay? How do you get rid of people that aren't cutting it? I mean, it feels like as a manager, you're getting cut short because you can't even do much about it. You have to document, this paper trail of insubordination or, bad activity or whatever it is. But sometimes you just know after a few months, this ain't going to work out. How do you handle that, guys? What do you think?
I think it needs to be nip it in the butt kind of situation. Not the insubordination paper trail kind of thing, because I feel like that's I can't really figure out how to say it.
Not good. That's how I know.
But if it's a contract, I say a lot. I apologize. But if it's a contractor, right? I think a company should be I would like a different person. They're not a good mix. They don't fit. He's not a bad person. He's not a bad worker. Because that way you're not, putting a black smudge on somebody's career. Maybe they just didn't have a good working interaction with people at your site, right? They didn't like the site. They didn't
site politics and getting along with people is a really hard deal, especially when you got a big crew.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's one of the hardest things as a site manager is how do I manage these guys so they don't want to kill each other or they don't want to talk crap on each other all the time? How do you unite them in a big enough goal that they don't turn their backs on one another?
Give them someone to hate. Everybody hate one person.
Give them a common goal.
Yeah, give them a common goal, and sometimes that goal is hating this one guy.
Yeah,
I've seen that though. I mean, that's true.
Asking questions, you can't go wrong if you start asking a guy questions. Like, are you getting along here? How is that cross-threading going for you? You know, just kind of point out in question form that, hey, this may not be a fit for you, but how is it? How, you know, is something going on in your life that's really hindering you from showing up on time or even being at work when you're at work? Just ask those questions, and I think that eliminates a lot of problems. And you can needle down to some problems that might be fixed right away. So,
yeah, I think that's one of the best tactics is asking questions. I think the guys that I led, they definitely thought I was a bit funny, you know, because I would get mad sometimes at situations, but I wouldn't get mad at people. Like I would never like get mad at people, and I never really like experienced that and got positive vibes out of that. I'm sure you guys, you know, have a different experience because you were in the military. It seems like, you know, from the outsider's perspective, you're just constantly getting yelled at, or like you're not, you know what I mean? Like, so
yeah,
it might be a little bit different for a veteran, and I think veterans have a little bit tougher skin because of that. But those who haven't served, you know, they don't really experience, you know, getting yelled at very, very well. But like, I would be like, get all upset about a situation or something, but the guys always knew I wouldn't get mad at them. And I don't know, man. I think for me as a leader, one of the biggest things I could do was just keep putting the goal in front of them and saying, look, no matter what, we know this is a hard deal, but if we do it together, we do it better. And, you know, if we fight against each other, then we're hurting ourselves. And no one wants to come in and have that stank attitude and all that. I hope that the next generation, somehow we can kind of mold them into that. There's obviously no specific answer on how to get the best guys, how to train the right guys. And honestly, those that don't fit will not last, right? Because they know they don't fit.
They realize it after a while, I think.
Yeah, a few climbs sometimes even.
There was one kid who climbed, didn't even got to the first deck and went down. He was done.
Oh man. Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. I had some older gentlemen that I think they were like touring for a political reason, you know, wanted to like kind of highlight some of the pros of energy, and the guy got about halfway up and he's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm not going to make it. I was like, respect. You just climb your butt down. I'll watch you. I'm like, just so you know, I've climbed up every one of these towers here in this valley multiple times. And he looks around and he's just all big-eyed, like I was a superhero or something. No, I'm just a regular guy that likes to work, and I like getting high in that way.
Oh no, Neil, I've worked around you. You are a superhero as far as patience and yeah. What's wrong with this thing? Call Neil. Call Neil.
Yeah, call me. I like that.
Yeah, man. There's a few of them. I know a few guys like that. They're just Rain Men. One of the first guys I learned from, Sam Cross. He up in North Dakota, just one of the smartest guys I know.
Yeah. And that's who we hope to train the next, you know, into the next generation. And that's what we want to pass along. And I have hope, honestly. I get to see a lot of these young guys coming in, and whether they're veterans or they're not, these guys, some of them they got it going on and they understand what it's going to take. I hope that everyone paints a realistic picture for these guys so that when they do get out there, they're not thinking that they're going to be like #1 rock stars right away, fixing every turbine and dropping the mic and walking away. You know, that's not going to happen. You are going to be a cleaner. You're going to be a greaser. You're going to be a tower climbing grease monkey. That's what you're going to be for a while, okay? And it's always been a funny little term that we use, and it fits us well. But just because we use it like that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. But that's what you're going to be for a while, guys. You're going to suck at
That's
being.
right. They've got to realize that early on.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to get your opportunity. And I tell people like this. They come to me and they say, "What company should I work for?" I say, "What companies do you know about?" "Nah, I don't know." Okay. Well, first off, you got to do your education, or you got to do your due diligence. Go out, find out what companies are out there. If you ask me about the corporate culture within, a certain corporation, I might be able to tell you about that. But if you just ask me which company should I work for, I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't even know your personality, nor do I know what you enjoy doing. You really do have to match yourself well with the company you decide to work with. And a lot of guys, what they don't understand is that when you go to an interview, you're interviewing that company just like they're interviewing you.
Absolutely. Yep.
You need to ask the right questions. Andy, maybe you could talk a little bit about that. What do you tell these guys about interviews? Because I'm guessing a lot of them aren't very good at it right off the bat, but maybe you can teach them.
No, a lot of them aren't good right off the bat, but they have to realize that they are worth something. And if they portray a picture of, whatever, then that's what they're worth. But if they go in with some confidence and a bearing, and hey, I am worth something to you, and I've looked at your company, I've got questions for you as well, then they know, hey, this guy's done their homework on our company. He knows exactly where he wants to go to work. He knows what position he wants, and he knows a little bit about us, our corporate structure or whatever. So yeah, interviewing skills and just keeping your chin up, even if you don't know an answer. That integrity comes through in an interview.
Yeah.
So let them know, but those core values.
I like to tell guys too. You need to have goals. If you go into an interview or even into this, education of trying to get into this, and you don't have some goals, you really do need to figure out okay, this is a year goal, this is a 5-year goal, this is a 10-year goal. Because those goals will help shape you into what you want to be. I had the goal of wanting to, run my own site, right? There was levels to that. There was a lot of different levels to that. There was a lot of years that went involved into that too, right? You don't just show up and then overnight you're going to be the guy that leads the wind farm. No way, man. You got to prove yourself. And then you got to move up in your levels. If you're Siemens, you go 1 through 6. I don't know how many. They got 6 billion levels over there. And then you go 1 to 3, or whatever. You got to level up. And then you become a leader. When you become a lead, turns out you might not know how to lead already, but you'll learn if you're smart enough, if you listen enough, if you do like Andy said, ask enough questions instead of, statements directed at people. Ask questions, and then they'll figure it out themselves, right? And then you become, this manager, and then you quit and you start the tower climbing grease monkeys.
Right on, Neil.
But you got to have goals, right? That's I think that's life 101, right? You got to have goals.
Well,
Wes,
Neil,
I think you're living that up right now, right? You got a goal.
Yeah, I got a goal, but I also have no life because I have to work, 50, 60 hours a week and then do this stuff on the side.
Yeah, but guess what? Your life will get exponentially better when you have that breaking point, that tipping point, and when you go into that job that you're doing right now to pay the bills, and then you get that feeling that says, "Ooh, I'm not supposed to be here anymore." You'll get it, man. And when you get that feeling, that's when you know, all right, it's
I know
time
I got
to.
to go to Salt Lake City, right? Go train some people in a nice fancy TCGM building.
You know what, man? That's my goal. I got the big goal. I want to build something kind of like Andy has over there in Tucumcari. I want it to be a training center. I want it to be a research facility, and I want to be like the car and driver of, you know, the wind industry. I want to be able to cut through all the nonsense. If somebody's like, we got, 45 torque guns, I want to test them all, and I want to tell you exactly, basically, this is what works, this is what doesn't. I don't want to have real life stuff where I get to test them out. And so until then, I'll just use Andy's facility. And I think that's where we're going to host the first competition for technicians. I think we talked about that, right, Andy?
Come on down, Neil. Anytime. You bet.
Yeah. I'm going to call up Rob Siegel over there at INSA. We're going to use his Wind Warrior concept, and we're just going to blow this thing up, man. And we can invite out, and we're going to have like basically what I consider the VETech Olympics, man. I'm gonna share something with you guys, and this is just for giggles, man. But you see all of these little sticky notes here. Probably, I would say about 3 years ago, maybe when I first, I don't know, 3 maybe 4 years ago, when I first really started kind of brainstorming, what could I make this into aside from a group? I started writing these things down, and it's funny. You'll see that some of these things on these sticky notes, they come about. So what is this? Video competition. I don't know if we've done that yet. Anonymous safety letter. And just so you know, I'm never scared to put all my ideas out there. There's a guy right now that says that he created the first technical forum for wind turbine technicians. He took an idea I had. You remember I told you guys about that idea, and he claims to have the first one ever. And I'm not even going to say his name because turns out he's not the first one. I don't know. What about this? Turbine design competition. That's a little bit heavy. Unbreakable spray bottle.
Yeah, no kidding.
I want that one. Here we go. This is what we were talking about, Andy. Competition. Climbing. Faulted turbines. Tower rescue. Commissioning. I think all those things could be great opportunities to test people's knowledge, right?
Let's make it happen, Neil.
Yeah. Clothing, equipment, and supplies.
So, fun fact on your rescue, I know when High Plains was doing their high angle confined space rescues, it wasn't really a race, but I mean it was timed, right? You want to do stuff quickly, and they had some pretty quick people and some pretty quick rescues. Like I might be misquoting James too. He was the instructor. He is the instructor there. I think he said that there were 2 Danish guys that came from Denmark and did this just ridiculous rescue. And they did it so fast. They're like, man, how can we make this harder for these people? And so they like blindfolded them and they did a rescue.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. It was like, I would have loved to have seen it, but that's the whole neat thing about their training facility is, man, they will put you through the works. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. I better go check that out. That's amazing, man. I'm just looking at some of these things I already done. YouTube videos, got that. Incorporate, share, and expand. That's the next thing for TCGM. I want to share this with everybody so they can be a part of it. Not just share it, but like financially share so you guys can invest in it. Grease vacuum. I don't know how that's possible. I physically, I don't even know if that's possible. WinTech School, troubleshooting forum, Q&A. That's the one right there. I'm still not letting that one down. TCGM brand profile of the month. Oh yeah, this is one you guys. I think one of you guys should be a part of this. Wes, we should probably put you up as the tech of the month. I always wanted to do a tech of the month photo contest. We did that one. Here we go. WinTech Olympics. I know this is kind of off the beaten path, but I busted these out. Might as well go through them. Membership, networking, jobs profile. We got a jobs board up. So you see what I mean? The whole point of it is if you build it, it will come. Hey, we got somebody calling in. Hey, welcome to the TCGM show. You're with me, Neil, Andy, and Wes Wooten.
How you doing, sir? It's Cooper. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Cooper. You got a question for us?
Yes, sir. I had a question. I have a. Is there any, as far as schools that are out in California that are teaching all that, or do you know? Because I'm looking at, of course, I'm always looking at new things, especially with the technicians or just the know-how of how everything works, just the general knowledge, even for anybody that can get that general knowledge. Is there a certain college in Southern California that would be able to do that? I'm calling from Southern California, of course, you know that.
Yeah. I can think of, I know Airstreams has got a thing out there. That's kind of a quick program. I don't even know how long that program is. Do you guys know?
I want to say it's six weeks.
That's what I've heard. 6
as a college,
longer
or
and
20 weeks.
Longer and in-depth in Southern California.
I talked to one of the directors of community colleges in California, and they had like 20 colleges lined up to teach WinTech programs. I don't know if that came to fruition or not, but they started actually a 30-day program, and I don't know where that went, but yeah, I know.
I think you could do a crash course.
Yeah, just a crash course and out the door. But
Jason White here says Airstreams is a 6 weeks. I went. So thanks,
Okay.
Jason. That one, I went to that one actually, Cooper. That one was in Tehachapi, so not quite Southern California. I would kind of say it's still Southern, but not like Southern, like where where I grew up.
Riverside County.
Yeah, Riverside. That was kind of down there. You got any other questions for us?
Yeah, I have one more. What, as far as building the wind turbines, are there any that are nearby coast water? Are those, or how does that work? Because I know, of course, with the water damage being done, or just the air and the water, how would that be, you guys, for you consulting or anything else like that? Because of course, there's a lot more wind closer to the coast, but do you ever deal with any wind turbines out on the water, or near the water?
Waialoa, they're on Oahu's North Shore. Maui has turbines, GE and Siemens.
Yeah.
And I mean, I haven't worked inside of them, but I know guys that have. They say that it's not really that bad.
Are they harder to deal with? Or are they?
So one of the biggest things that you're asking is how do you like get one of these things so that they don't just be a big ass rust bucket, right? And the answer is it's stainless steel bolts. It's a lot of stainless steel connections. Aside from your electrical connections, like everything has to be either coated or stainless steel. And I know that I worked at Clipper Wind Power when they were building these things, and that's exactly what it was. They even had special power converters that had special coatings and all that, because you got that salt air and that stuff's really eating things alive. A great example, and Cooper, I hope to bring this to you, is an example here. It's actually an article about it in this same magazine, but they're highlighting the successes of the Block Island wind farm off the coast of Rhode Island. And I'm definitely going to go there someday. I met the guy that runs the thing at Deepwater Wind, and I feel like he'd definitely invite us out. So I think I could give a nice little breakdown there. But we are having some success here. It's slow going, but just because it's slow going doesn't mean that it's non-existent. And I think we're going to make leaps and bounds, especially if we're going to make that 2020 goal of having 10% renewable energy here in the U.S. I think that's something we got to do, man.
So how, with a major investor, because I remember didn't you say Warren Buffett has some property that he has the wind turbines? He's into that also?
Yeah, the Buffett man. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's heavy into. Well, he just so happens to own a thing called Pacific Corp, which owns Rocky Mountain Power and a bunch of other things. So he's in the power business, and not only is he in the power business, but he is a powerful man. And so,
of course,
a powerful man like that can definitely, create.
Put out $100 million just for trash.
Yeah, that's kind of a decent project. I think, Andy, what was it that 60 million? I think that we spent just in Milford alone on. I think it was the first or the second project combined. I'm not sure, but that's one wind farm, 60 million.
But 80 million was injected into the state of Utah.
Sorry, Cooper, I had to cut you off there, man. You had some background noise, but great questions. Thanks for calling in. But yeah, 100 million. That's kind of a little drop in the bucket, right?
Bet he called back.
Yeah, that was him calling back. Sorry, I had to deny you there, buddy. He has background noise. We got a little bit off topic there, but to answer some of these questions, I think we did pretty well. What kind of? I'm going to ask you guys this, and I'll direct this to Andy first, and then Wes, you can answer. What kind of stuff kind of keeps you up at night when you think about this industry, and about what we're doing, and how we're handling things?
What keeps me up at night with excitement, or keeps me up with ulcers? What keeps me up excited is the growth. It's just amazing growth right now, and there's just amazing efficiencies, bigger turbines, bigger blades, new ways of control.
I couldn't agree more, man. I just can't wait to see what these things look like in 10 years even.
Right. So really, there's nothing that keeps me up at night the other direction, though. So,
and he's sleeping good.
Working out in the field, I can see there's probably some frustrations and things that go on, and corporate structures that aren't totally organized, possibly. But here in a school environment, it's very exciting to have students here with their eyes wide open and climbing the tower for the first time, and it's an environment of excitement and learning.
Isn't it great though to see people's light bulbs go off, and the more and more that happens, that's almost currency, right? At least it was for me when I was teaching the guys in the field. It was beautiful to see that aha moment where they go, oh, and they connect the dots. So I think you're doing a good job, Andy. Thank you. What about you, Wes? What kind of stuff keeps you up at night when it comes to this?
Oh, well, we're talking negatively, right? Checklists. Oh, they're the worst. No, I mean, it's the same way. It's an excitement thing, right? Like leaps and bounds. Just the concept that I have that I started, and how the snowball effect, right? The little snowflake, big old boulder, and soon it'll be an avalanche, and that is exciting and terrifying all at the same time, because it's all a build in progress, right? And I guess I'm just worried that it's not perfect at the gate, which we've talked about that, and I do kind of agree with you to just get the name out there, and it's still kind of terrifying though.
Well, when people do want to go check out VETechs, what is the website?
VETechsLLC.com.
VETechsLLC.com. All right, I'm gonna put that up on the screen so these guys can see it. If you want to check out Wes Wooten and what he's doing, he's dedicating his whole business to getting veterans jobs here in the wind industry, and I think it's a great deal. Wes, why don't you sign off here and say goodbye and any closing remarks you might have.
Thanks for having me out. Obviously, we'll have to more on that that building in Nevada, right, or Utah.
Utah, yeah.
And Jason had a question. Yes, I'm working to get people as they're either getting out, like active duty, or people that have just been out for a while and looking to find a better career. And so just shoot me an email on the website. My email's on there. Personal story. My roommate in Afghanistan, I've been really good friends with him because of the brotherhood that you create. He's been bouncing around jobs for the past 2 or 3 years, and he was a more crematorium guy. He was burning bodies, and then he was a mechanic, and then he was a painter, and I'm just like, man, get into wind. I've been trying to get you into wind. You won't bite the bullet. And he said something to me about he doesn't have the money to do it, and that was kind of part of the motivation to start this, to help people, right? So when the funding comes and the grants come and all that kind of stuff, then it'll be easier to help people, even if it's to pay for certifications that they can't afford, or eventually maybe even housing and car rentals and stuff like that. I mean, the scope is ginormous, and it's just one step at a time, right?
Yeah, we're looking through your website here right now, man. You've done a great job, and I know you're a bit of a perfectionist, but check it out here. This is VETechsLLC.com. He's got some cool stuff to look at here. Spot to donate. Talks about his mission, his team, and there's obviously a spot here where you can contact them. So, West, thank you so much. Thank you for being a part of the show. Thanks for your service. And until next time, brother, we'll see you.
All right, man. Thanks.
All right, Andy, it's me and you, man. And I just want you to sign off here and tell everybody good night. You're someone I look up to, and the floor is yours, brother.
Well, cut me off if I go too long, Neil, but like we talked earlier, I had a significant event happen just recently. One of my soldiers passed away in a parachuting training accident. I traveled to North Carolina, met his widow, saw his children. When we interred his body into Arlington National Cemetery, you kind of wonder, was it worth it? Is it all worth it? Training. The guy's seen all kinds of combat. The next day, I had my family with me. We're standing in the National Archives in front of the Constitution of the United States of America. And as hard as it may be, you say, yes, it was worth it. And then on a trip back to New Mexico, we drove back across this great nation. You see businesses going up, highways being built, silos going up, and then all of these wind farm after wind farm being built. And there's a lot of these veterans that are working as dedicated to wind as they were to the Constitution. So, it's a powerful feeling, and a bit emotional for me. But when an industry takes such an interest in veterans, and I take my hat off, I'll salute Sergeant Wooten and what he's doing. I think that is just absolutely wonderful. So hats off to the veterans, doing a fantastic job out there. And they just have a belief. They have a strong belief in this country, and providing power for the country is a powerful thing. I'll end with that.
Excellent, man. Well, Andy, thank you so much for joining us. If you guys want to check out what Andy's got going on, just a simple Google search of Mesalands Community College, and it'll pull up the WinTech program he's got over there. He's got a Facebook that's linked here as well. I've personally been to the school. He's got some great people there, and he's wrecking out some good students. And so if you're a new guy looking into getting into this, definitely check him out. So thank you, Andy. I'm signing off, and thank you again for your service as well. Good night. All right, man. Well, we wrapped it up again. As you can tell, we just keep getting better and better at this show here, and I hope that you guys are enjoying it. I try to keep things down to about an hour, but it looks like we went a little over, but that's okay. I love chatting with my friends, and I love helping people out. Hopefully, this helped you out a little bit, and it gave you some kind of insight, and maybe just created a spark or a little talking point. You guys have a great night. Until next time, we're out of here. Cue the music. All right. See you later, everybody. Next Wednesday night. And if you haven't already gone to our store, you need to check out the TCGM store, store.tcgm.us. You can get all your cool WinTech gear right there. Later.